Now it does. Yeah. Okay. Is it okay?
Het is een beetje donker, maar het lijkt misschien zo.
Ja.
Okay.
Dan kunnen we mogelijk nog wat lichter maken. Okay. It's slightly dark, but the sun is already coming, so it makes a difference. But
Right.
Can we start?
sure.
I think I'm going to cry.
That's okay. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And we honor you. We love you too. Yes. We talked about the questions, and I think you know what is it you would like to share. There's two parts of it. Your personal part, your journey up till now, whatever you like to share. And the second part is, what is the wisdom you would like to offer to the next generations?
My name is Mary Thorp. As I was listening to Susan talk about her heritage, I was thinking about mine. So I'm half Norwegian, and I'm half like Northern Italian or European, and my ancestors have not been important to me until now. I feel, well, so my background, I grew up in a family of 5 daughters with my parents. I grew up in Iowa. In May, on May 8th, 2023, I'll be 76. I'm the second of 5 daughters. And I could say I've lived a very privileged life. It's been challenging, but I think that's what life is. I have a college degree in family environment from Iowa State University. I married when I was 22. I was married for 2 years. I knew when I got married I shouldn't be. And after those 2 years I knew marriage was not for me. I began working. I'm a designer. I've learned how to sew. I learned that I could sew very naturally by the time I was 13, like by 9th grade. I love to sew. I love working with my hands. May I say about this piece I'm putting in the bundle? I'm really moved to be doing this. This is a piece of satin that's handmade. I made it all by hand. It has some design in the middle. I have no idea what it is. I probably just traced around something. But it's to hold the satin in place. And we're I want you to know I'm fine with this. I hope you are. And I hope whoever's watching it is. I have touch for one of my gifts. And I sucked my thumb when I was a child. And then my daughter, Sarah, also sucked her thumb. And I kept having to replace the satin on her blankets. And one day I said, she doesn't care about the blanket, she only cares about the satin. What am I doing? Hence, these satin mother's love pieces were born. I sleep with mine. She sleeps with hers. I always have many around my house, and I love them and I give them as gifts. I gave one to a little boy, a foster son of some people that are really lovely people. It was red. He loved it. No idea whether he still has it or remembers it, but I do. He was with this couple who supported him to go back with his mother. He's now with his mother. So I ended up marrying a second time. I had 3 children. I have 3 children. And after 6 years, my marriage was not working for me. I split up. I had 3 children under 6. I had no idea what I was going to do at the time. My husband and I owned our own business, and I was as important in the business as he was. But I was left with nothing except my 3 children. It was very difficult, but I knew being on my own was more important and raising my children was more important. And I knew it would work. I didn't know how, which is kind of one of the lessons I think is important to pass on, to trust yourself and follow your heart, and things will work out. Anyway, I ended up doing sewing alterations from my apartment. I didn't want to go into corporate work because I didn't want someone else to raise my kids. So I just figured out a way to have it work. So I went on welfare for a little while from the federal government, and it helped me get on my feet so that I could be who I knew I was. I'm thinking about people who live on the reservation. I lived on Rittenhouse Square in Philadelphia while I was on welfare. You're not supposed to do that. It's not supposed to work like that. But anyway, I just kept putting one step in front of the other. I found support with some friends to help me raise my kids because I knew that I was not fully who I was meant to be. I found someone to mentor with. I had already done lots of work. I've always been a seeker, learning things, curious. And I spent 10 years. I'd had therapists tell me that I needed to go into analysis every day. How am I going to afford that? I can't even pay for my kids. So anyway, I found somebody who I worked with for 10 years, and I learned to live what I had learned. Not to just know it, but to live it. And then money has never been a really important thing for me. Money's always shown up. Like, what's been more important, and again, this is another one, a lesson is, do what you're here to do what calls you, and everything will work, even if you have no idea how that's going to happen. In 1997, I decided one day, out of a question from the universe that said, after I'd had a fight with my mentor, I went, what am I supposed to learn from this? This is not okay with me. And they said, child, let us ask you a question. Were you in joy? And I said, no. That was the end of the conversation. So within a couple of days, I decided that I was going to live my life in joy. I was not going to ever do anything that wasn't joyful for me again. It was the beginning of a beautiful journey. And the only thing I knew was when I wasn't in joy, I would be doing something and I would go like, this isn't very joyful. So I'd look at my watch. I gave myself 15 minutes. If I could turn it around, I would stay. And if I couldn't, the situation, I would leave. And I would go, okay, what brings me joy now? And my life completely turned around. I got my first sewing studio out of my apartment. I was sewing in my apartment. I had 3 kids. One of them moved to their father's, so 2, and me in a 2-bedroom apartment. But so I got my first studio out of the apartment. I took my first driving trip after not driving long distances for a long time. And I found my partner that I've been with for 26 years this year. Then my mother died. My mentor had already died in that whole mix of things. My partner was her husband. And we had been training with her for all those years and left and had no thoughts ever of being together, but we have this extraordinary relationship. After my mother died, I wanted to do something special from the money that I got from her, to honor her and my parents both, I guess. And one day I got a message to buy a sculpture by an artist named Harry Bertoya, who I fell in love with his work. He had died 20 years before. He and my mother were born the same year. I have no idea what these tears are about, but anyway, I just kept following my joy. Joy led the whole path of this project, and I began locating and documenting all of his sculptures over the following 20 years. And I traveled all over the country. I met collectors. I was at all the museums, at all the... he went to Cranbrook Art Academy. He was a world-known sculptor. He did welded sculpture of the period, the mid-20th century. I had no idea what I was getting into when I just kept taking the next step and the next step and the next step. Pascal, my partner's very deep knowledge and experience in art was on one side, and joy was on the other, and I was the walker of the path. I became a world expert on Bertoya's sculptures. I lectured at places like Sotheby's in New York City. I did a lecture at the Salmagundi Club, which I'd never even heard of, but was a a really extraordinary place in New York. I lectured for architects and met architects, designers, people of that period who were thinkers and really led the design of that period. And Harry and I knew each other in another lifetime. I love him deeply. And I'm honored to have been called. They say that I'm so sorry. I lost track of what I was saying.
You were with Harry.
Yeah.
And how much you loved him.
Yeah. Oh, I was talking about the people that I got to meet and interview. I mean, like Picasso's, a woman who was with Picasso named Françoise Gillot, she was with him for 10 or more years and had 2 of his children. And one of my very favorite people was Massimo and Leila Vignelli, who were Italian and world known. But Harry opened all those doors for me. He did something like 50 sculptures, commissioned sculptures. He did thousands of sculptures, sounding sculptures that when the metals come together, they make sounds like whales and cosmic sounds. They were just amazing. And I've never really been able to understand. Oh, I started to say, they said that we planned this journey, that Harry came in to do the sculptures and I came in to do this work to follow him. It doesn't feel complete to me, but I don't know what's next. Anyway, I've lived an extraordinary life. Like 20 years ago, I was traveling around the country with no home base. Our home in West Virginia, but I had just left for the year, which turned into 2.5 years. And I just followed my heart, followed my joy. And I feel incredibly blessed, like dropping pieces of transformation around the country, the globe. And I think one of the things that I would say is that one of the things that I would leave for people is to return, like to find what I do, to find my power, is to own whatever happened, whatever is happening, good, bad, indifferent. Like, how did I create this? What's the lesson there is for me to learn here? I'm going to give an example. My daughter, who just turned 40 a couple months ago, her name is Sarah, I've said, she and I aren't talking. And I don't understand it. But I can own it all. I know there's part of me having to let go. I know it's me not liking, not talking to her in this physical way. I know we talk all the time on other levels. But mostly I can't see it and I forget. We have our satin pieces that connect us. So to stay in my power, I go like, I hated some of the things that my mother did when I was growing up. She was always there. She was a hard worker. She came from good people. And when I have all those things. Actually, as I'm talking to you, I'm going like, what is it that I hated so much about what she did? So ridiculous. Anyway, Sarah's in that place where she's standing in her own power and she's learning and she's, blaming me for things like I blamed my mother for things when I didn't know better at the time. And it doesn't change my love. One of the things that I learned when I was 31 years old in 1978 is that all parents love their children, and all children love their parents. And sometimes there are barriers to the expression of that love. But the love is always there. The one other thing that just came into me is Khalil Gibran, who said, "Your children are not your children. They are the longing, they are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself." So I knew when I had these children, they were not my children. They were of the universe, and the universe sent them through me for them to learn whatever lessons they're here for. And for me to love them. And I do. And that will never change. And I know they love me, no matter what happens. And then I'm going to speak for a moment about my granddaughter. I have one granddaughter. Her name is Lonnie. She'll be 7 in July. And I meet with her every week. I've been giving her music lessons for the past 3 and some years with a friend of mine from Los Angeles. So I live in West Virginia, Lonnie's in Florida, and my friend, her teacher, is in Los Angeles. First that we can do that is an extraordinary feat, gift. And I look at her and I watch her, and I'm amazed by her. Sometimes I wonder, what did she come into this lifetime with my son and her mother, and why me for her grandmother? I listen and learn the lesson why she came every week. So that's one piece. And then the other thing that I'm here to defy the rules, disrupt the status quo. It's part of my personal human design. I've always been curious and wanting to shift the planet. And again, in my early 30s, from the brilliant Buckminster Fuller, who had spent his life after beginning to walk into the Lake Michigan and heard a voice that said, if you're going to kill yourself, why don't you see what one man can do? So he turned around, walked out, and blessed the world with his thinking and his gifts. And one of the things that he discovered was that, or uncovered was the underlying principle or abstraction that we've been living in up until now, in the last 50 years, is a world of you or me. To survive, either you're going to win or I'm going to win. And everything that we do is based on that. And that we're now at a time when everyone can win, can survive, can be, which is a you and me world. And that's what I've lived my life inside of and for. A world that works for everyone, with no one and nothing left out. So, I thought when I had children that my life was over just about. And discovered, on the other hand, that was, in a way, no different than having a job for those years. But it took me living through it and discovering it. No one told me that I would have a life afterwards, before, during, and after. So learning to stand in my power and to own all of it. Yes, I did that. All the good, all the bad, all the ugly, I did. And I'll be responsible for cleaning it up, restoring it, whatever needs to happen. Anyway, that's what brings me here to be with you, is being a creator of a world that works for everyone, with no one and nothing left out. And I know I have maybe another half-life to live. Because why would you work this hard and not enjoy all the pleasures of actually living in a world? One of the things that I took some courses about being a world leader, and I went like, I don't really want to be a world leader, until I realized that I was a leader in my world, which makes me a world leader, and that every person is a leader in their world. And instead of having just a few world leaders lifting everything up, if every person gets that they're a world leader and has things work in their world, it's a lot faster to have the world work for everyone from there than it is from thinking one has to do it themselves. That's you or me. You and me, has each one of us loving, being loved, contributing, receiving, all in balance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.